Gilbert stepping up. Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
How many discounts does USAA Auto Insurance offer? Too many to say here. Multi-vehicle discount, safe driver discount, new vehicle discount, storage discount, legacy.
How many discounts will you stack up? Visit USAA.com/auto discounts. Restrictions apply.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
You're tuned into Auto Intelligence, live from Auto Trader, where data, tools, and your preferences sync to make your car shopping smooth.
They're searching inventory.
Oh, yeah.
They find what you need.
They're gonna find it.
You can make a budget for your wallet to help you succeed. Pricing's precise and true.
So true.
It's smarter car shopping.
Ooh.
Just for you.
Oh, it's just for you.
Ooh.
Find your next ride at autotrader.com. Powered by Auto Intelligence.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network, and you can follow us on YouTube at youtube.com/@RamsUpPodcast. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined often by my football guru, Ian, along with a bunch of other friends of the show on occasion. Let's get to it. All right, folks, we're finally here. The top 10 greatest Rams ever. Been working through this countdown over the last couple weeks. We've gotten through 11 through 50, and now we're into the top 10. And man, I just love talking about these guys. It's so much fun. And for those of you who missed out on the previous episodes, just a reminder, we take everything into account. Guys from the 50s, yeah, they may not stack up that well against modern players, but we try to weigh that, you know, in their time, they were great players. The Andy Rubistellis, the Jack Snows, the Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch guys, all those great players. But we also recognize that these modern players are probably a tad better than the guys from the 50s and 60s. And we also weigh the fact that, you know, longevity matters. You know, if you're a player, if you played at a pretty high level for 20 years, you might be slightly underneath a guy that maybe had a great 6-year career, for example. Kind of weigh all of that. And it's a difficult task, especially for our Rams, because there's so many great players and so many great eras, unlike some other franchises. The Rams had great teams and great players in the 50s, the 60s, 70s, the 80s. Maybe we can skip part of the 90s, but there are still some pretty strong players there. And then the greatest show on turf, and then another lull, and then the Sean McVay era. Man, so many great players. And I'm also going to acknowledge that I probably made some mistakes here. And there's one guy that I realized probably belongs in the top, probably belongs in that 35 to 45 range. And I left him out, and he's going to be in this top 50 the next time I do this. And I'm not going to give you his name. See if you can figure it out. But, there's probably a lot of guys that you could argue should be in this top 50. I did the best I could. I spent months putting this list together. And we're into the top 10. And who are my top 10? Well, before we get to that, let's rehash real quickly. We're not going to go through the entire list, but we'll highlight some of the guys that did appear at 41 through 50. Leonard Little and Jack Snow were both there. Flipper Anderson, Dick Bass, a guy that gets lost in history because of all these great running backs. And then Joe Schiavelli, he was number 50 out of Notre Dame, great interior offensive lineman. And then in the 31 through 40 group, Robert Quinn was there at 36. And, I had that poll a while back about who you'd want off the edge in a certain circumstance. And some of the not really old guys, I shouldn't put it that way, some of the guys that were following the Rams as they left St. Louis and came to LA really recognize how great an edge rusher Robert Quinn was. Man, he was at the top of his game, one of the best. So he was there at 36. Another edge rusher, outside linebacker, really more so than an edge rusher, Kevin Green. And I had Jalen Ramsey at 32, even though he had a relatively short career with the Rams. Andrew Whitworth and Kevin Carter, a well-rounded defensive end. And then 21 through 30, Tom Fears, one of my favorite players, Nolan Cromwell. And Cooper Kupp, one of the few active players on this list, along with Ramsey and a couple of other guys. Roman Gabriel, 28, and Todd Gurley, who I will argue forever that in his prime, perhaps the greatest running back to ever play on a National Football League field. Yeah, I really mean that. He was incredible just for a very short time. And then we got into 11 through 20, Kurt Warner, Jackie Slater in his 20-year career, Torrey Holt, two great quarterbacks in the 50s, Norm Van Brocklin and Bob Waterfield. And then there's Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch there at 18. And number 19, Henry Ellard, another underappreciated player. But let's get to number 10. Who is at number 10? And this is going to be fun. I love talking about every single one of these guys. And number 10 is SJ39 Steven Jackson. And if you listen to this podcast, if you have for any amount of time, you'll know how I feel about Steven Jackson. He made those years bearable all by himself. Out of Las Vegas and Oregon State, the Rams drafted him 24th overall in the 2004 draft. The thought was he would be the replacement for Marshall Faulk, a different type of running back than Marshall Faulk, though, at least so we thought. Two-time second-team All-Pro, three-time Pro Bowler, all-time Rams leading rusher. And the thing with Jackson is he deserved more honors than he got. That some of his teams were just so bad. But you talk about a beast of a running back, a team player, a great receiver, one of the scariest running backs in the open field that you could ever happen to meet. And like I say, really bad teams he played on. And if he had been on teams that were winning divisions and making playoff runs, he would have been recognized for what he is, one of the best running backs of his generation. And he's my number 10 and well-deserved, I think. And, there's a lot of people outside the Ramley, the Rams world that don't understand just how good he was. Man, Steven Jackson, one of my favorite players and a great guy, just a great attitude, class guy, Steven Jackson. And number 9, a guy that came a little bit before him. They actually played together briefly, and that is Isaac Bruce. So we went from the Rams' all-time leading rusher to the Rams' all-time leading receiver. And you could make an argument for Isaac Bruce being higher, but wait till you see these other guys and you understand why he's only 9. A second-round pick out of Memphis in the 1994 draft, so 10 years before SJ39. Second-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. Is that an injustice or what? Isaac Bruce, the NFL receiving yardage leader in 1996, a Super Bowl champion, member of the Hall of Fame, and as I said, the Rams' all-time leading receiver with 14,109 yards. And he was just so smooth. Great route runner, great with the ball in his hands, and another class guy, one of the classiest, nicest guys you'll ever meet, and set the tone for the greatest show on turf as far as unselfishness and just getting the W's. We've all heard that story where he scored a touchdown, but it was called back because Torrey Holt, the rookie, with illegal motion or something, and so they moved it back 5 yards, whatever it was, and then on the next play, Torrey Holt scored the touchdown and immediately went over to Isaac Bruce to apologize, and Isaac Bruce was like, "Kid, I don't care who scores the touchdown. Do not worry about it." And that's just typical of Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, two great wide receivers. And another player that, I hear these discussions about the greatest wide receivers ever. And, the problem with Bruce in those discussions is he wasn't a jerk. He didn't do anything flamboyant. He just played great football. And there's guys like Marvin Harrison and many others that some people rate above him. And I don't know, I think he gets the short end in a lot of those discussions. But hey, maybe I'm biased. Guilty as charged, but he was truly a great player. So number 8, who's number 8? And man, what a run of great players here. Number 8 is the great left tackle Orlando Pace, the very first pick of the 1997 draft. And that really set the stage for the greatest show on turf. Out of Ohio State, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler on the All-2000s team, and of course, a Super Bowl champion and a member of the Hall of Fame, and another greatest show on turf guy. And he was one of the best left tackles in the history of the National Football League. He's in that group of, just a handful of left tackles that you really talk about. Anthony Munoz, Orlando Pace, and a handful of others. He's right there, Jonathan Ogden. But, when the greatest show on turf was rolling, you just forgot about that left side. Orlando Pace was over there, and that just created so many opportunities, so much the ability of this offense to attack in so many different ways on the ground and through the air because Orlando Pace was that good. And made Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and these receivers all look good. Set the stage for them, right? And he is my 8th greatest Ram ever. And number 7, we're on a run here of greatest show on turf guys. Marshall Faulk, he is my 7th greatest Ram ever. And he came over to the St. Louis in that trade and over from the Colts. And the Colts got a couple of draft picks, and they drafted Mike Peterson and Brad Scioli. The Rams got an MVP player, 3-time Offensive Player of the Year, and he had already been the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year with the Colts. 3-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 7-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, and a member of the Hall of Fame. And do I really need to talk about why Marshall Faulk was so great? Just turn on the film, man. That carry against the Browns, one of the best in the history of the National Football League. And so smart, so, versatile, a great runner. He could run between the tackles too. He could flash and burn, a great receiver. I mean, we know that. I mean, he was one of the best receiving running backs ever. And now he's one guy that does get the recognition he deserves. It's just so obvious when you watch that greatest show on turf team and watch the damage Marshall Faulk did. Really created some problems for defenses. You got Orlando Pace out there, pretty good interior offensive line as well. Kurt Warner chucking the ball around. And then Marshall Faulk and Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt. Wow, what a team. But Marshall Faulk was really, Pace set the stage, but this greatest show on turf would have been quite a bit different without the weapon that was Marshall Faulk. And I think that's right about where he belongs. See if you disagree, let me know. Hey, these top 10 guys, man, mix and match, put them in any order you want, right? Don't get too spun up on who's 6 and who's 8. These are all just great players.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
You open the Walmart app and boom! The Reebok and Hanes styles that keep your kiddos on their A game delivered in as fast as an hour. That's right, those comfy Hanes Performance Crew socks they love in the app. And the coolest shirts, shorts, hoodies, and leggings from Reebok? Yep, Walmart's got them. They'll feel so focused in their new gear they won't even notice you freaking out on the sidelines. Shop Reebok and Hanes in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new. Subject to availability, fees, and restrictions apply.
New Vitamin Water Zero Sugar Pineapple Passion Fruit is packed with vitamins. Just like the amount of peas we packed in that sentence. It's packed like your tote bag. The one you stole from your ex. Or your overpriced half a studio apartment. Or extra rushed rush hour traffic. Packed like your calendar. Triple booked at 5, of course. Grab a Vitamin Water. Did we mention it's packed with vitamins?
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
Who do I have at number 6? Jack Youngblood. And, going a little bit old school here, but we all know the stories about Jack Youngblood, man. Talk about one tough hombre, the 20th pick of the 1971 draft out of Florida. He's just the epitome of toughness on a football field, paired with Fred Dreyer there for a while, bookend defensive ends, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL sack leader, and a member of the 1970s All-Decade Team, and another member of the Hall of Fame. And, he is one guy that didn't get overlooked, even though those Rams teams he was on came up short over and over and over again. He was just so loved by the NFL world. Just he got the recognition he deserved for being one tough guy and a great player. And, there's a story about him with a broken bone in his leg and playing in those playoff games. And, that's pretty incredible. That alone, puts him in the top 50, but just a great, great player. Again, these guys, you go on and on about how great they were. The top end of the Rams here, historically, can stack up just about against any franchise, in my opinion. You go from Steven Jackson, Isaac Bruce, Orlando Pace, Marshall Faulk, and now Jack Youngblood. Geez, what a great group of players. And who's next? We got some good ones left to go through here. And my number 5 player, Eric Dickerson. Yeah, I have Dickerson above Faulk. And, I can understand if we're going to get some pushback on that. But that record he set, the single-season rushing record, that stands out to me as pretty darn important. And in 1983, the Rams traded up with the Oilers and drafted Dickerson number 2 overall. He was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, 3-time NFC Offensive Player of the Year, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowler, 4-time NFL rushing leader, and a member of the 1980s All-Decade Team, and on the NFL 100th anniversary team. And, of course, he holds a single-season rushing record. And, Eric Dickerson and the goggles, he's a bit of an unconventional running back. upright running style with those goggles. What a scary dude. And a kind of a mix of power and speed is how I would describe Eric Dickerson. And again, man, this run of just incredible players continues. Don't need to say much more about Eric Dickerson. He's a top 3 or 4 running back. I mean, you got Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers, a very short career. Gale Sayers kind of in that Todd Gurley realm, short career, but just incredible. And there's a handful of other guys, obviously. Barry Sanders would probably be my number 1. And then guys like Jim Brown, Eric Dickerson. But Eric Dickerson is right there. And of course, I favored Dickerson a little bit. I still have that birthday gift from my daughter, the video of Eric Dickerson wishing me a Merry Christmas. That was pretty cool. And he's still, a big Rams booster, still very present in the Rams world. So
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Eric Dickerson, he's number 5. Now, number 4, probably going to get some disagreement on, and I talk this guy up a lot. And, interior offensive lineman, kind of boring. Is that what it is? But, Tom Mack, he comes in as my 4th greatest Ram ever, a 2nd-round pick in the 1996 draft. And he combined longevity and excellence. 13 years on the Rams, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 8-time All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler, a member of the Hall of Fame, and a guy that just, you just don't get, he just doesn't get the recognition because of the position he played. But look at that data, man. And also think about the players that he practiced against. Maybe that's why he's so good, early in his career, going up against the fearsome foursome, later on going up against the next wave, the fearsome foursome part 2, some great players there as well. And Tom Mack, and a great name, right? Is that a great name for an interior offensive lineman or what? And don't poo-poo a guard as the 4th greatest Ram ever. He was the real deal, one of the greatest interior offensive linemen of his generation. And probably going to get some disagreement on that. Some of you probably have him in the teens, but that would only be because of the position he plays, in my opinion. So we're into the top 3. Who are the top 3? You could probably guess if you gave it some thought. There's 3 great players left, right? And who is the next one up? Deacon Jones, who changed the game, invented the sack, more or less. The Rams were scouting running backs at Mississippi Valley State, and they found this defensive tackle who was running the running backs down in the open field. And Jones was selected by the Rams after that in the 14th round of the 1961 NFL Draft. He earned a starting role as a defensive end and teamed up with tackle Merlin Olsen to give the Rams a perennial All-Pro left side of that defensive line that became the fearsome foursome. 2-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, 5-time NFL sack leader, and a member of the 1960s All-Decade Team, a member of the NFL 100th Anniversary Team, and of course he's a member of the Hall of Fame. And a lot of you younger folks, you've heard the name, and you've probably seen some clips. Pretty scary looking dude too, but he was a household name in Los Angeles and very well known across the NFL for being a guy that just destroyed offensive lines and creamed quarterbacks. Deacon Jones, man, one of the greatest Rams ever. I got him at number 3. Some would probably have him at number 1, but I have his teammate Merlin Olsen ahead of him at number 2. A 3rd pick of the 1962 draft, played 15 years. So again, we're talking longevity, and just played at a super high level. This guy was so good. Six-time first team All-Pro, 4-time second team All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler, 14 times in the Pro Bowl. That's incredible. I remember the 1960s All-Decade team and the 1970s All-Decade team. So him and Tom Mack, man, they were going at it for a decade. I remember the NFL 100th anniversary team, another member of the Hall of Fame, and another Ram that parlayed his career into a second career in Hollywood. But, Merlin Olsen, a gentle giant, but when he stepped between the lines, man, he was a beast, an angry football player. And he talked about that. One of the nicest, coolest, friendliest guy that you'd ever meet off the field, but different guy on the field. Another very destructive defensive lineman. Him and Deacon Jones playing together, that's pretty incredible. But he is my number 2, and so we're going to run a defensive lineman here. A run on guys in the trenches, so some of you are really going to like that. We go Tom Mack, Deacon Jones, Merlin Olsen. Who could be number 1? Let me think about that. To me, it was pretty easy. Aaron Donald, a 13th pick in the 2014 draft, played 10 years for the Rams, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time first-team All-Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, member of the 2010s All-Decade team, and a Super Bowl champion as well. Now, let me tell you a thing or two about Aaron Donald. You talk about the great defensive lineman from the days gone by, Mean Joe Green. Let's take Mean Joe Green. I'm not buying it if you tell me Mean Joe Green was a better football player than Aaron Donald. Even if you consider the era they played in, I don't think Mean Joe Green could do the things that Aaron Donald did. You remember there was parts of his career where Aaron Donald was not playing with a bunch of great players. That Steeler defense, you can't have it both ways. If you're going to say Mean Joe Green was the greatest defensive tackle ever, and you're also going to argue that 9 of those guys on that defense belong in the Hall of Fame, and they probably are in there. Come on, something's got to give here. Aaron Donald played alongside some great players, but there were years where he was playing alongside, Greg Gaines and Marquise Copeland. And they had some good guys rotating in, obviously, Michael Brockers, Ashawn Robinson. But if the Steeler defense was that good, I don't think Brockers or Greg Gaines or Ashawn Robinson could really stand up to those players, right? But Aaron Donald, dominant in so many ways. And also, how many times did he make big plays, game-deciding plays in the playoffs against really good teams? And, how many times did we hear Sean McVay say it out loud, Aaron's going to make a play here, and he came through. Aaron Donald. And I will make the argument, I'd love to have this argument with anybody, regardless of position. I think Aaron Donald's the greatest player in the history of the National Football League. Better than Jerry Rice. Again, Rice playing on some incredible offenses. Better than Tom Brady. Discarding position, Aaron Donald was the best. And hey, throw stones at me, tell me I'm wrong, but I've seen it with my own eyes. And, the Patriots talked about Aaron Donald and the problems he presented. But, he doesn't have as much control of the game as a quarterback or even a wide receiver. You wouldn't think, but Aaron Donald managed to do it a bunch of times. The guy is a beast, was a beast. I think he could come back today and still be a beast. Aaron Donald is my greatest Ram ever, and I'll make the argument. And this is a Rams podcast. I think I can get away with this. The greatest player in the history of the National Football League. So we'll rehash those top 10 one more time. Who do we got? Aaron Donald was number 1, followed by Merlin Olsen, and then Deacon Jones, and then the interior offensive lineman Tom Mack coming in at number 4, Eric Dickerson number 5, Jack Youngblood number 6, Marshall Faulk, number 7, Orlando Pace, number 8, and Isaac Bruce, number 9. And then one of my favorite players, maybe my favorite Ram of all time, SJ39, Steven Jackson coming in at 10. And a lot of you will be very happy to note that how many of these guys were in the trenches. We got Donald, Olson, Jones, Mack, Youngblood, and Orlando Pace. 6 players and all these great offenses the Rams have had in the 50s, the greatest show on turf, and the Sean McVay offenses. All starts with the trenches, doesn't it? On defense, too. So that's how I have them stacked up. I hope you'd enjoyed that. And we'll talk about, in a few episodes, I'll have to go through the comments. We'll talk about the guys that I maybe overlooked and tell me where I got it wrong. Man, I love these episodes. I hope you enjoy them too. And again, you could reorder a bunch of these guys in different ways. Don't get too spun up about the exact order. Let's just celebrate the greatest Rams ever, the top 50 Rams ever. It's a lot of fun, and I'll do it again in a year or two, and we'll see how it goes. Out here from Rams Up, the 50 greatest Rams ever in the books, out here. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.